Okay, let's bring in the SaberCats now. Hey, guys, do me a favor and count to 10.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 10. How's that? How's that?
Beautiful. Boom. Go, Cats, go.
Does that look pretty professional?
You bet your Saber fangs it did. Coming up next on Rugby Wrap-Up, Paul the Cactus Emerick of the Houston SaberCats. Rugby Wrap-Up brought to you in part by the Balanced Palate, nutrition for peak performance, and the Pig and Whistle on West 36th Street, the world's best rugby pub. Hey everybody, welcome back to Rugby Wrap-Up. Matt McCarthy at the Fantasy Sports Studio 34 in Midtown Manhattan talking rugby, and we get the pleasure of talking to some of our favorite rugby stars and coaches in the league, and we have the head coach of the Houston SaberCats, none other than USA Rugby legend, Paul the Cactus Emerick. Paul, welcome.
Thanks, Matt. Thanks for having me today. And I'm interim head coach at the SaberCats, but definitely head coach right now anyway.
You're only the interim coach if I don't have a say in this, because I'm going to go on this massive Save the Cactus or Hire the Cactus full-time campaign, because you're 1-1. The SaberCats are 500 under you. If they were 500 right now in the season, all of Houston would be happy.
Yeah, we're 1-1. I was really happy with the boys' performance in NOLA. We had a good prep week, and it's been nice to be able to reap the reward of some of that hard work that these guys have been putting in.
All right, you're being humble and doing the whole coach speak thing, but you went into NOLA, into the New Orleans Gold backyard, and beat them at home. They are either 1 or 2 in the league, depending on who sneezes and gets a bonus point, but you went in there and beat them. I mean, that's impressive.
Yeah, I was on the road. It was in NOLA, the Battle of the Bayous, as I like to call it. Maybe you can help with that campaign to get it dubbed that. But, we got about the same climate. So it's been warm and sticky down here, and it was definitely warm and sticky down there. And it was a good win. Like I said, I said to you in New York, we haven't been far off all year, and we just got some of the little things right that we worked hard on correcting from that New York game. And, it's the boys are really buying in and starting to play for each other. So it'll be an exciting last 3 games of the season.
You said warm and sticky. That describes you. That's what a cactus is. A cactus is warm and sticky, good to look at, but don't touch, right? But in all seriousness, tell people what the number 325 is.
325 is my Eagles cap number. I was Eagle number 325, so that's the significance for that number. Everyone gets one. I was having this conversation with Thretton. He was is having another campaign to get back onto the national team, and he was telling me all the guys were laughing at him because his Eagle number was still in the 300s. I guess now they're getting up there into the 400s, but no, it's great tradition. I bleed red, white, and blue, and very proud of that number 325.
And so you should be, sir. So you should be. And we've all seen you bleed literally for this nation repeatedly. So kudos to you. And you were referring, of course, to that freight train that your team just picked up, Thretton Palamo. Great pickup, adding some oomph in that back line. I mean, that's a tough guy to tackle. And we had Peter Malcolm in town with the Austin Elite playing hooker, and he is number 505 in the Eagle number scheme. So that's where we are there. And I'm just wondering, if a guy's number 499 and he wants to trade up to 500, can you do that like Major League Baseball players do when a veteran goes to a different team? They swap jerseys, the guy buys the guy a car or something, because from a marketing standpoint, 500 sounds better than 499.
No swaps. Yeah, you got to earn that, and what you get is what you get. So there it is.
Fair enough. So is it Pella, Iowa, that you're from?
That's the one, Pella, Iowa.
How many people?
When I was growing up, it was like 6,000. We're almost 10,000 now, so it's getting big.
All right, let me ask you this question. When you were a kid growing up in Pella, in Iowa, did you ever imagine that you would be traveling the globe playing rugby in World Cups, representing your nation in 15s and 7s repeatedly and in memorable fashion, and now become a head coach of a professional rugby team in the United States. Did you ever think about that?
I didn't know what rugby was until I was 19. I grew up doing most of the Midwest sports, what you do in Iowa anyway. Wrestling was a big part, and football, and springtime was, I think, soccer one year, tennis another year, track. That only lasted a few weeks. When I was 19, started playing rugby, and I think it was even after that first season, I had a good friend of mine, Steve Murrow, who's no longer with us, but I remember him coming up to me and saying, "Paul, do you know who the Eagles are?" And I was like, "Oh, who are the Eagles? What is this national team you speak of?" And so I was a product of that old LAU ITT system, and that's how I got, I guess, plucked out of the cornfields of Iowa to go on. And I still got to pinch myself every now and again. I had a good run, some amazing cultural experiences, some amazing teammates along the way, and it's I guess part of my DNA now, and I get to bring all that passion and hard work here to the SaberCats.
Yeah, and you have a wealth of playing experience that people might not understand. You had Wasps in the English Premiership, Ulster in the Pro 14, then the Pro 12, Italy, the HSBC Sevens World Series circuit, and I know I'm missing some stops.
Yeah, I think I got more clubs than Tiger Woods. But,
good one.
A stint in New Zealand, Wales. Absolutely love my time in Wales. That's another big country that's just mad about their rugby. So I've been fortunate for sure.
Yikes, I forgot about Wales, and we have a mad Welshman that's editing this mess after the fact. But also, your line about Tiger Woods is an instant classic. So will that be on your tombstone? Will that be your epitaph? Here lies the Cactus, Paul Emerick. He had more clubs than Tiger Woods.
I don't know. Maybe just the moniker of it, just a cactus on there. So who knows?
Good stuff. Good stuff. Let's get back to the present, though. Houston SaberCats. What is the one thing? What is your stamp? What is the Paul Emerick stamp that you want or wanted to be on this team?
As head coach, kind of my first meeting, I brought in some senior leadership guys, and I just said, right, give me 3-4 things that you guys want changed right now. That's actionable. Obviously I can't overhaul or reinvent the wheel, and so we start taking away those things that they don't like or they want to start seeing, and it's about just taking away the little negatives that all kind of add up during the day. And you get some more buy-in, and guys start enjoying practice. And, I told them this is going to be a very player-centric ethos. So I need input from you guys. What do you want to see, tactics? I've been around a lot of coaches that either try and mold the player into a game plan, or you go back and you look at your game plan to what the players can provide. So there's been a little bit of change in that, and we've hopefully turned a corner, and I don't think any teams are going to be overlooking us right now.
Yeah, the one thing that we talked about on the show last week when I had Seattle Seawolves owner Adrian Balfour and GM of Rooney, James English, in here as pundits, which was cool. You should check that out. We talked about what team at the bottom of the table might be the spoiler. And I said you guys, because after that loss, it was a 21-0 loss to Rugby United New York here in New York City. It was the score really wasn't indicative of how close that match was or what could have been for you guys. And afterwards, at the dinner, there were no heads hanging, and there was still a look of fire in the guys' eyes. And I was like, Houston is the team. And sure enough, you guys go in and knock off NOLA.
Yeah, the boys played real well. We left some opportunities there in New York for some points. Perhaps a bad call by some of the players on the field in certain tactical moments. But, as I said in the interview, good news is we had plenty to work on. I think having that Glendale game canceled gave us an extra week of prep. We're starting to fire on most of our cylinders right now, but a change in that in the team attitude. And New York was a tough game, but NOLA, we grew, and we're going to look to get some good work done this week and grow again. And we got a big home game against Austin this week.
That's right. It's the Texas Tango, or as they'd say overseas, the Texas Derby that's coming up, if you will. But, I'm going to pick you guys, and it's not just because you're on my show or you're bigger and tougher than I am. I actually think that you guys are suddenly dangerous. And when was the last time anybody picked you guys as favorites?
Well, I think it's a long time coming. In Austin, we squeaked one out for one of our early victories in the year. And I know just like every squad, and we've been the same. Austin's been dealing with depth and injuries and managing guys who are full-time and not full-time. And that's just the landscape of the MLR. So we're definitely going to be digging deep here towards the end of the season and testing the depths of our bench.
You mentioned Austin. I think there ought to be a bonus point for a certain amount of languages spoken on the roster, and then another bonus point for the most languages spoken on a roster, because these guys have a ton.
Yeah, they've got a lot of international components to them, a lot of South Africans, French, some Kiwis, Aussies, which is good and bad. It just depends on how all you manage that. I've been, obviously, as a foreigner coming into about every team I played in, many times asked, they play rugby in the U.S. Like I said, it just depends how you manage it. I know all of our foreigners here, and when I was overseas, you got one thing in common, is that you're not from here. So you come in close, and those guys become family. And I speak a lot about family and having each other's backs here at the SaberCats, and so we've got a pretty good family culture going.
Yeah, you got a good thing going on down there. You got a good vibe. You got the new stadium. The grass is finally starting to take, which kind of could be, metaphorically speaking, symbolic for the organization, that things are starting to take root. And you've got some synergy there that perhaps is for a comeback for a player coach. I mean, you got the precedent set by Andrew Suniula as a staff member coming onto the pitch, dropping the clipboard. He put on the cleats against New York here for Austin. He wasn't on the match day 23. He comes in, and he's the starting fly half wearing number 12. I mean, are we going to see that with you guys?
Andrew Suniula is the Peter Pan. That guy's ageless. I caught up with him, whenever I'm up in Austin, but I'm happy he can still get on the boots. And from watching the game film, he's still got that patented Suniula step. I don't know. It might be between Andrew and Shalom, who's got the better one, but good to see him still playing. Unfortunately, I think that ship has sailed for me. I'll keep a whistle around my neck and my coaching shoes on.
Andrew Suniula as the Peter Pan of rugby. Gotta love that. But I got this. You got it all wrong. This is a marketing coup for the league. We have you come in and play as a player coach, and teams get bonus points for player coaches. You're a player coach. Suniula's a player coach. There might be a couple of more morphing into that role next year. Certainly Phil Mack could fit into that category. We drag in Kees Lensing from the New York franchise. We drag Alex Corbisiero out of the booth. And it's like geezers rugby, but it's a component, and each team is required to have a certain mature player. Kees, you have cleats in your bag. Are you going to be playing prop for Rooney this season?
No, definitely not.
You're thinking about it, aren't you?
Always thinking about the game.
Breaking story, ladies and gentlemen. Kees Lensing will be lacing up the boots for Rooney in the front row. Kees, of course, captain of Namibia and played in Super Rugby. It's going to be a great addition to Major League Rugby this season. Thank you, Kees. Matt McCarthy for Rugby Wrap-Up on the field of Coney Island. Break it. Okay, in all seriousness, as per your tight schedule, we have to wind this up.
Yeah.
Your favorite rugby moment on the pitch?
My favorite moment on the rugby pitch would have been in May 2003. I was in the U.S. national team camps for 2 years. Played a few sevens tournament, and I got my first cap against Spain in that qualifier. And a big debt of gratitude and thanks to Coach Tom Billups for helping me on that journey and helping to focus my efforts there. And that was a big accomplishment. And I guess the rest of it, was just some good opportunities and hard work. And I had a good 10-year career out of that. So the beginning of all that was pretty special. And that U.S. cap is one of my most prized possessions.
I can't argue with that too much, but, with sports gambling getting legal across the United States, I put down the rent and the car payment on you picking the iconic try against Ireland in 2011 in the World Cup on 9/11. You're costing me a bundle of money, guy.
That was a pretty special moment, and I think USA Rugby got some pretty good marketing out of that. But the 3 World Cups were all special, definitely. But it all had to start with that first one. So,
okay, final thought, and it's a trip down rugby's memory lane. The first time I met you was at a team dinner at the Vegas Sevens. I went in to say hello, and I was completely flummoxed looking at you, and I'm holding the program, and on the program, you're the guy on the cover of the Vegas Sevens program. You got long blonde hair, and there you are sitting there with a freshly cut short hairdo. And I'm just like, what the fuck?
Ebbs and flows. Right now, I've got some long hair, and I guess I'm just fortunate that I can cut it and it grows back. So whilst I can still do that, I suppose I will, and got to change it up every now and again.
Rub it in, Emerick. Rub it in. Just another reason why yours truly is jealous, ladies and gentlemen, of Paul the Cactus Emerick. Paul, thank you.
Thanks for having me, Matt.
All right, and on that note, on behalf of Mr. Paul the Cactus Emerick, I'm Matt McCarthy for Rugby Wrap-Up in Midtown Manhattan at the Studio 34 Fantasy Sports Network, signing off.